Hello and welcome to the D3 podcast. We are on season 3, baby. Season 3. Woo! Yeah.
As you can tell, our budget has
Didn't
still
really
not
think we'd get this
changed.
far. Welcome to the podcast, folks. Joined as always by Sam and Kevin. This is your host, Matt. How's it going, guys?
Glad to be back. Glad to be talking about basketball again because football sucks. And I'm better because my fantasy team is doing bad.
Yeah, I mean, I tank in that season. I'm going to tank in every season until 2024. Then I'm good. I'll be back.
Fine, Kevin. That's fine. It's all right. The Bears won today, so we have something to look forward to.
That's true. That's true.
Wow, you
Bye,
beat
Sam.
the team with no wins. Wow, so proud of you guys.
Fight me. Let me have something to be proud of, you bastard. Why don't we get right into it, boys? Sam, what do we got on the docket today?
Well, per usual, Ben Simmons talk is the number one thing of concern. I know it's been a couple of weeks since our last discussion on Ben Simmons, but from our last discussion, Ben Simmons made clear he does not want to return to the 76ers. He wants out. All the teams are backing out now because they know they can pay less for Ben Simmons. So the 76ers are trying to find a middle ground or they're trying to wait out for the next superstar to bail out, such as a Bradley Beal or is it a Damian Lillard at this time. But we'll have to see. I know the team did try to fly out to LA to go see Ben Simmons, but he said, "Don't bother coming. I'm not going to change my mind." And I know Embiid got a little hit by all this, saying that the Sixers have quote unquote always been built around his needs. We got rid of Jimmy just to make sure he needed the ball in his hands. It's clear that there's still bad blood, even though Joel Embiid said there's nothing between them. We all know Embiid as a troll, so maybe this is just his way of getting pumped up for the season and diminishing, Ben Simmons in their next future matchup in the coming future. But currently, the 76ers are holding $8.25 million from Simmons until he arrives to training camp. They are willing to give it afterwards, but they're allowed to hold so much of his contract as like a training camp bonus, essentially. The thing that's crazy because just to show up to training camp, you get paid $8 million. I do that instantly, but it's Ben Simmons, NBA player, pretty good at the game, pretty much knows what he's doing. What do we think about the whole Ben Simmons debacle at this point? I mean, it's kind of went from, oh, Ben Simmons has so much value, so much potential to, hey, we're not going to pay much. We'll give you a couple first rounders, but that's basically it. Matt, what do you think about this whole situation?
My question is, Sam, what do you think about Ben Simmons and the Spurs having interest in him?
I'm in. Currently the future is a little dry for us. We have 10 guards on roster, so I don't mind adding a guard forward as a little bit of a mix. And I think with the best shooting coach in the NBA, we can make Ben Simmons the greatest player of all time. Ask Kawhi Leonard.
Oh yeah, 100%. If anybody's gonna get to him, it's definitely Pop. I guess my thing is like, if you trade him to the Wizards, that's fine. But now you have Bradley Beal, who we'll get into later, who doesn't want to get his COVID vaccine. And I don't really know how is it all around the NBA? You're not allowed to play if you're not vaxxed. Is that how it is, or is it just some home stadiums?
You just can't play your own game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be a huge problem. You can't play at home. Well, you're going to lose games. So there's that. Ben Simmons going to a team that really needs him, I guess the Spurs could be interesting. I don't really see it as a big plus or minus personally, until he learns how to shoot. If he went to the Lakers, that would be interesting. That would have been very interesting if he went
Conspiracy
to the Lakers.
Matt over here.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, he went to LA. I don't know what to tell you. That would be fun. I think Ben Simmons on the Lakers would be very interesting. Him with LeBron. I mean, like, we're talking about people who can get to get through to him. I feel like LeBron would definitely be somebody who could. As long as he stays away from the Clippers and all of that bullshit, I'm pretty psyched. But whatever Embiid is saying about not having bad blood, I think that's total bullshit. There's so much. I mean, have you seen Philadelphia fans to begin with? They're fucking crazy. They're insane. It's only a matter of time before you start like, getting those bad habits. So, I'm a down vote on this Ben Simmons shit.
Gotcha. I mean, so do you think that Ben Simmons will be traded prior to the start of the season?
It depends on how ballsy he is. I mean, he already has a ton of money, so like, is he really? And hasn't he already like spoken outwardly that like he doesn't care that he's getting money withheld? Yeah, like he could do whatever the fuck he wants. He could just like hold out like Le'Veon Bell did. I mean, things didn't work out that well for Le'Veon Bell, but Ben Simmons has the talent and potential, and he's still pretty young. So it's just like, honestly, he could probably just hold out for the whole season if he really wanted to, and it wouldn't really make that much of a difference, except the 76ers would be the same.
Yeah, no, that's true. But Kevin, I think we should rewind. Like, what do you think is like, who caused all this? Like, do you think this is this purely a Ben Simmons, like he was the issue the whole time, so he needs to get out, or do we think it's the team was an issue? Like, who killed the process?
I mean, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think I've said this a couple times on this podcast. I think Ben Simmons was the perfect scapegoat for that Sixers team, who never really got their footing and who have made so many changes in their team over the past like 5 years or so. And again, they've still never gotten their footing. And Ben Simmons is a perfect guy to point the finger at and blame because he's not great at shooting. He's a good player, but he's kind of been hyped up more than he's actually like helping the team. And so again, he's a great person to blame for all of their problems. And I think he's sick of that. I think he's sick of it and is like, no, if you're not gonna respect me and you're gonna blame me for these things, I don't want to play with you guys. Like, I'm done with this. And so he's gonna be a stubborn bitch about it, which is fair. I don't blame him. And then you just have Embiid after sticking up for him originally, kind of, and being like, no, we don't have any bad blood. It's good. Like, he's a cool dude. Now he's like, Simmons is being a baby about all this. I gotta do what's best for me. And that's going to be saying that this was all his fault and we built the team around him for the past 5 years or whatever, which I think it's kind of true, but it's also like loaded. Like, of course they're going to build the team around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and make sure that those two players are the star players on their team. Like, that's what you do as a team. And then Embiid coming out and being like, well, yeah, we built around our star player. That's he's such a like entitled baby. I think that's dumb. But
damn, yo, you got heated there.
Simmons killed the process.
Wow. I don't know, man. I feel like this management team, they killed so many number one picks. Markelle Fultz is a great example of how much they failed, like these number one picks.
Hold on 1 second. I got this. Just give me like 5 seconds. All right. Here we go. Philly killed the process.
So we're basically saying Philly committed seppuku, is what we're saying at this point. There was this.
Yes.
The city of brotherly love, it has no love for anyone, is what I can tell. As we've seen through all the tweets, like death threats that they give to their own players, which is unreal. It's almost. Can this go down as one of the most embarrassing organizations since the OKC trade?
Ooh.
No, I think the Rockets have taken the crown on that with the James Harden trade. I think the 76ers are up there. They're like top 3 to 4, I would say. Rockets have really taken the throne with competency. They're not very competent anymore. They're not very intelligent as far as, trading things. They don't know how to do it. OKC, like, they kind of got bamboozled as far as players go, but at the same time, they have so many fucking draft picks that it makes me want to explode. And on the other hand, Philadelphia is just shit show, and clearly, like I will give it to this. I'll give them this. Last year, they didn't make me want to regret watching them as much. Like Embiid was healthy, I think, like healthy-ish during the playoffs, which was great to see. You love to see that, except that they were number one going into it and they fucked up horribly. Philly started the fire.
Okay. I see you. Also in Pennsylvania. I see you. I mean, it's a tough situation. I actually think this is actually the most embarrassing organization for the amount of opportunity that they had.
Yeah.
The whole Sam Hinkie building the whole process concept, completely failing several times because I think it comes down to Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid is actually a huge problem. He's a great asset, but he's a huge problem and detrimental to how the culture is in this team. I think he doesn't have the right attitude. The way he plays, if you see the way he plays, that he's the reason they lose most games, I would say. I think most of the losses are based off of him. I'm willing to take that. Joel Embiid, come at me on my Twitter. That doesn't exist. But Joel Embiid, when he's tired, plays the worst basketball of any player I've ever seen. That's just a fact. He gets so tired that he does the stupid post up spin cycle fadeaway Dirk shot, and he has no shot at this point. I don't know what you're saying, Matt, at this point, but based off of this podcast, the word that we would like to use is delusional, which I'm not.
Yeah.
To make it clear. You're the person using pen and paper still in a digital age, so check yourself before coming at me in the DMs. Oh, sorry, in the mailbox in your world. So
thank you. My address is as follows. Make sure to send it to the right one, please.
Yeah, for sure.
I will not be paying for your postage.
We'll send you to Philly. Don't worry.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'll just fucking commit spooko at that point. Look. Embiid was in the conversation for MVP last year, and you're gonna tell me that he's the reason why they're bad?
Hey, MVPs aren't necessarily team players. Ask Luka Doncic.
Dang.
Luka Doncic wasn't an MVP.
He was in the talks though. He's on the talks this year, and the team has gotten worse now. So
Luka Doncic, okay, I think that's a completely different situation. I think Luka is a completely yes, absolutely. Who is supporting Luka versus who is supporting Embiid? Embiid has a much better supporting cast around him, and he can carry the team with all of this supporting cast. Luka, I mean, yeah, you know what? I shouldn't have said that because Luka definitely can carry a team to the playoffs, as we have seen. But
to an L.
Embiid.
Hey. Trae Young. How is Trae Young doing? That's what I thought. Okay. Not an all-star, right? Not an all-star.
Trae Young is in the bowels of hell currently. That we like to call Atlanta.
He put New York in the bowels of hell right now. So.
New York, Philly, they're the fucking Wizards and the Rockets. They're all in the same place. It's pretty detrimental to their health at this point. Look. You cannot honestly tell me that Embiid is the reason for the 76ers to fail. Like, he is such an incredible talent, an incredible player, and he has pushed them over the edge. Now, I will give you this. When he is tired, yeah, he's pretty bad. It's not great. Nobody likes to see it. But he has been getting better. He has been getting healthier. He's been staying on the court a little bit longer than past years. I would not be pointing the finger at Embiid. I would be pointing the finger at the organization and the self-fulfilling prophecy that they just can't make it work.
All right. Kevin, can you order me the largest sombrero? Because this man has the biggest cap in history right now. It's our last call.
I had to explain to my wife what cap meant because she didn't know that. And I'm just like in my head, I'm like, oh God, you're gonna be teaching fifth graders pretty soon. You are screwed.
Only issue I have with Ben Simmons is that the thing you didn't mention was I don't think he has a sense of leadership. Like when Tobias Harris has to be your voice, that's a problem. That's a problem. I think Tobias Harris should not be.
Embiid has no leadership. I don't think so. Embiid is literally just sarcasm. He is sarcasm and just like, I'm going to do what I want. Like, that's the energy that he reigns.
Exactly. We'll jump into our next topic. Kind of just following up since last week. We did hear about Gerson Rosas, former VP or former president of operations for the Timberwolves, was fired for some sort of affair issue that he had with the organization. It was consensual and all that, la ya da. But came as a huge surprise to everyone because he was supposed to be like the next guy, like in terms of being the next Daryl Morey in the sense, that he worked with Daryl Morey in Houston and was supposed to kind of build the process in Minnesota as well, building around Cat. And, they brought in D'Angelo Russell. They got rid of Wiggins. They got Russell, and they were trying to bring in more pieces. And I think there was some potential. Obviously, Anthony Edwards was also turned out to be a really good pick in all of our eyes now. And the team still has lots of potential, but obviously his firing was a big shock and a big shakeup in terms of the organization between players and management now. And I think it's as concerning to see what Karl Anthony Towns will be doing next. What do we see as the direction for the Timberwolves? Do we still see them flatlining, basically? Do we have any sense of direction with this team going forward?
I think Anthony Edwards brings some life to that team, and maybe they won't be the bottom two teams in the league again, hopefully. But I think until they make a bigger change, I think we're still going to see more of the same in general. It doesn't look like they're going to get to the playoffs anytime soon. Maybe that'll change, but I don't know. I think they really need to do a big shakeup if they're going to change something rather than replacing Andrew Wiggins with D'Angelo Russell, which is good, but is that really going to change your team completely? No.
No, exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think for me, the thing, you're spot on, Kevin, with D'Angelo Russell. I think there was some hope with D'Angelo Russell going to Minnesota. In my opinion, there was hope for that because it was just like, they're going to try and get Devin Booker over there. They're going to be the next three. Like, it's going to be awesome. And then it never happened. Devin Booker decided to stay on a good team. And I think the problem that I'm running into is I'm very interested to see how Cat plays this year. I want to, because there are some people that come back from tragedy like he did, and they just can't do it anymore because of it, which I would not blame him. If he is not good this year, I'd be like, yeah, same. Like, with all the shit that you had to deal with during COVID, like, fuck. But if he comes back with like a ton of fire, because I think in the postseason he was saying, or not in the postseason, but off season, he mentioned that he wasn't even sure if he was going to come back. He was saying that he really didn't have that fire anymore and that he was very concerned, which I don't blame him. But like from a non-emotional standpoint, if Cat isn't really doing anything, then you're immediately building around Edwards, which is fine. Edwards showed a lot of spark towards the end of the season, which is great, but you're still rebuilding. You're still a building team at that point, and then it's just kind of like, well, that kind of sucks, but there's nothing you can do about it.
No, exactly. Because there are rumors with the new owners of Mark Lore and our boy Alex Rodriguez, former Yankee. They're becoming the new owners of the Timberwolves. So there was already rumors that they were going to let him go after the summer, essentially. But obviously the process sped up with all the things that were going on in the organization as well. I do think if the whole idea is to change everything at this point, then I think it also means you have to change this roster. And I would agree that if you can sell Cat at a high value, and I think he has such a high value, you should do it now because you can start unloading these internal dying assets where they can grow somewhere else while also gaining some actual better assets and younger assets. And like I said, I think, like you said, building around Edwards, I think, is the future now. I think we've been saying build around Cat for 5 years now, and look where it's been. It's been flatline, not making the playoffs, making it once because of Jimmy Butler. And my boy Tom Tibbs, but we'll just have to see. The organization had some great potential and never lived up to the expectations, obviously. It's a tough conference. We all know that. And it doesn't help to be on that side, but maybe you just need a new pitcher for some of these star athletes or all-star athletes now. So we'll just have
to just move different states.
Hey, I'm just saying, Kevin, 2K, we moved the Minnesota Timberwolves to Seattle. Maybe let's make it happen. Okay, let's talk about your favorite part. It looks like you got very critical on this one too. Vaccination statuses in the NBA. You want to dive deeper on what's been happening?
Yeah, just came out. I think Steve Kerr announced it this morning or yesterday that Andrew Wiggins is officially vaxxed now, so that team doesn't have to worry about him. He's now there for all home games. And if for those players that aren't vaxxed, I think in most stadiums they won't be allowed to play home games, or at least a handful of stadiums. But right now, current vaccination rate for the NBA is at over 95%, which is awesome, but still not quite at the 100% mark they want to hit, I'm sure. Those who aren't vaccinated, the most notable are ones who have come out publicly and said they aren't, are MPJ, Kyrie, Bradley Beal, and Jonathan Isaac. Whereas Jonathan Isaac, I don't think anyone really cares. But MPJ, Kyrie, and Bradley Beal, those are big players. And if any of those teams don't have one of those guys for all their home games, that could be detrimental to those teams.
All right, I'm going to break this down for you, folks. All right, so you got Kyrie, right? Conspiracy theory, huge personality in the NBA. Okay, and then you add that. We're just going to put this over here to MPJ, another huge conspiracy theorist in where you guys live again? Oh, yes, the great state of Colorado. That must make you guys super proud. And then you go from MPJ to somehow, this is my theory, okay? Just hang in there, okay? I think that Kyrie plus MPJ somehow got to Bradley Beal and decided to be like, hey, dog, guess what? This is bad. And now Bradley Beal has lost his goddamn mind. Fuck. Like, come on.
Excellent analysis.
Thank you. I feel like visuals are very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Do we think that's a symptom of COVID at this point? The spreading?
You know what? Hey, I mean, you're right there with me, Sam. You're right there. Conspiracy theory. Oh my God, this is huge. I gotta call the History Channel, man, and I gotta send this into them because the History Channel. This is all what they do now.
MPJ said he's had COVID twice, and now he's like, well, I mean, I don't care at this point. I think the vaccine is more dangerous than getting COVID again. And I'm like, so I think you're onto something that that's a symptom of COVID.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? It messes with the oxygen flow in your body. That's a real thing. It does mess with your lungs a lot. And you know what? What happens to the brain when you have not enough oxygen? You get dumber. Facts.
For me,
I think no doctor.
For me, I think this is more of an affluent issue and kind of hypocritical because I kind of relate this to the whole race situation that came over the past 2 years, which is a legit situation that's been happening in America. We all know that. But for them to also kind of backtrack on this, it seems very hypocritical in all these players that have spoken up about all these causes, about protecting their own people, and they're not doing the same for their own people right now. They want to protect by speaking up. If you're really speaking up, then do something about your health as well. And I think that's just like, it's just selfish. I think just selfish as a human in a society. You need to care about the people around you because we are just social beings at this point. And I mean, we know Kyrie. Kyrie's having a good time socializing, right? He's always out missing games at this point. I'm just saying, I think Karl Anthony Towns is a perfect example of why the COVID vaccine should be taken at this point.
Yeah, right.
And at the end of the day, we speak about basketball, but we know we're not pros. We know we don't know anything about the actual sport necessarily, but the same should go for NBA players and speaking about actual science and actual logic, I guess, at this point. So it's just kind of like internally frustrating to see that like these guys are just being hypocritical against their own stances about things. They want to make a stand and then they make a fake stand afterwards about something that's just about themselves. So fuck you, Kyrie. I don't know. You just kind of pissed me off now at this point. But
yeah.
Kyrie, just keep the sage. Put some sage in your blood now at this point, if that's the case. Like, let's get that bad voodoo if that's the case at this point. But we'll just have to see. I mean, it is kind of like annoying when like you see the not big stars speak up about the vaccine until like way later. I know LeBron did speak up about it, but I think it's just a lot of miseducation. I mean, I literally saw a video on my feed. I don't know why it came up, but it was like, why there can't be microchips in your vaccine? And I was like, oh my God, someone actually take a 15-minute time to make a video on why microchips can't be in a vaccine. Like, what kind of world are we living in at this point? Like,
I'm actually very upset. I wanted better 5G, and I figured that if I got the vaccine, then I would have better 5G. Clearly, that's not the case, and I want my refund.
hey, that's why you got insurance, man. That's why you got insurance.
Fuck.
Let's get into some more fun news. That Kyrie's not on this list already, which is already
that wasn't
crazy
fun.
in my life. NBA's obviously celebrating their 75th anniversary. And every 25 years, they celebrate the tradition of adding onto the list of the next 25 best players, essentially. They're actually going to redo the list completely. But for our sake, we're going to talk about current players that maybe should make the list in general. So I have a few locks that I'll just kind of say in general. You tell me yay or nay. I'll start off with my boy Tim Duncan. I think he is very notable, should be a lock in top 75 players of all time.
Yay.
LeBron James.
Yay.
Kobe Bryant.
Yay.
Yep.
Ignore the voice crack.
Kevin Garnett. What do we think?
Yay.
Kevin Garnett makes it. One title, 8-time All-Star.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve Nash. No titles.
Yes. I think he does. I think Steve Nash is like basically like he was like the starter for revolutionizing the ISO game, and he was so fucking good at it. I like Steve Nash in there, and like it really sucks because you have big names like Steve Nash and Chuck, and it sucks because these guys are so fucking good, but they don't have a championship under their belts. But like that doesn't really necessarily mean that they're not top like 25 or whatever. So I think I would put Steve Nash in there.
It's because he's white. Be honest.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know it, man. 100%.
How about some current players here? Steph Curry. Does he make this?
Steph Curry? Yeah, I think Steph for sure.
Okay. Okay. Here's a stretch. Luka Doncic. Does he make this list right now?
No.
I think he does. If not this year, next year. But he for sure needs to be in that discussion.
Give him 5 more years, and maybe we'll talk.
No, 5 years. No,
I would agree. Like 2. I say like 2 years. I think that could create a solidified like record for him. Like obviously, I did put Zion on this list. Obviously, I don't think he obviously deserves to be on this list. Just when everything going on in his own career right now.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Anthony Davis?
If we're going top 25 since
1997, top 25.
I don't know if AD makes that.
I am nervous about Anthony Davis, especially coming into this year. Let's be honest, the Pelicans would not have made it to any playoff series if it wasn't for Anthony Davis. He's the sole reason that they made it to the playoffs, and I would be shocked if you can give me another reason why. The thing that makes me nervous about him is, and now he's like, I believe he's still like 28 years old. That is still young. That is still very young in the NBA, but he's injury prone. He's gotten injured multiple times last year. In the playoffs, he either was killing it or he was not playing well. There were multiple times where we were just like, there's no way Anthony Davis is playing this poorly.
Yeah.
And it's, I think I'm with you on this, Kevin. I think I'm questioning whether he could be top 25 or something like that. We'll see. I think if you were to ask me after this season, I'd have a better answer, or at least maybe like a quarter into the season.
Okay, so then I guess you choose between Anthony Davis or Giannis right now. Who would you pick?
Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis.
This is purely on MVPs. Is that what the basis is?
No, I think Giannis is just an overall better player.
I agree.
Gosh, you got some heat here. I was not expecting this much. I mean, I know we're all freaking out, literally.
No, it's not like look. If you put Giannis in front of a bunch of other names, I would probably pick Giannis too. Like it's like he is such an incredible talent that he's gonna be generational. He's absolutely a generational player. Like two MVPs in a row, Defensive Player of the Year. Like, and the fact that he was able to do what he did in this last playoff season and finals. I mean, hell, we keep talking about like, you know, if you're really one of the best players, prove it. He proved it by far. I mean, let me ask you this. If you switched Giannis and Anthony Davis, do you still think that the Bucks win a championship?
No.
There you go.
But I'm on your side on this argument. So
yeah, I know, but like from a theoretical point, like from a theoretical standpoint, like if we're looking at the math, if we're looking at the stats, I would probably say that I would trust Giannis more than I would trust Anthony Davis getting me a championship.
Dang, that's some heat, guys. That's some real heat because I'm just saying Giannis. I don't think you can compare Giannis's game style to Anthony Davis. I think it's actually very polar opposite. Like I think Giannis's game is actually better in terms of it's evolved with the game because he can actually dribble. Anthony Davis obviously can't. But it's valid point. So you would. So do you think Giannis would make this list right now, like as of right now, or not yet?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, Anthony Davis off the list. Get him out of here. You're considered a bum. Zion, you're off this list. Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, I got a few more names here. Ray Allen. Two-time NBA champion, probably greatest shooter of all time for at least until after the season, until Steph Curry passes him.
Yeah,
He's pretty fucking good. I'm just saying, he's a 12-time All-Star. 12-time All-Star. Hall of Famer.
Again, I just compare him to everyone else on this list, and I think it's a slight difference between where he's at and where some of these other guys are at. I don't know. He could definitely. I wouldn't be mad if he's on this list, but personally, I'd put in somewhere around 26 to 30. So I don't know if he'd make the top 25.
I think he does if Steph didn't break any of his records. I think because of the three-point shooting, how much it evolved and how it's kind of like a commonplace, like with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. I think because of them, I'm going to say no to Ray Allen, and that kills me because he was awesome on the Celtics. I also do think that one of those championships was kind of like one of those like, hey, I'm on LeBron's team, so look at me, free reign. Because
he hit the biggest shot. He hit the biggest shot.
No, he did. He totally hit the biggest shot. He totally hit the biggest shot. I'm not saying that he's undeserving of it. It's more so that like, I don't know if you remember watching Ray Allen on the Heat. It wasn't great. He was not that great on the Heat. I don't know. I think I'm down. I think I'm a little bit more down on Ray Allen. I think there are better players that are more deserving, which is very hard for me to say.
Interesting you say this because we made Kevin Garnett a lock. I'm just gonna say that as well.
Kevin Garnett is incredible.
He had like 7 prime years. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Okay, here I got a good one. Paul Pierce.
No.
Dang. Paul Pierce.
He's good. He's probably close to Ray Allen, like top 30, but I don't know if he makes top 25.
Yeah, he's borderline for me. He's borderline. Him and Ray Allen are borderline for me.
All right. Okay. Now, battle of guards here. We have here Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd.
Dwayne Wade for sure.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade for sure. He had one of the 2 worst seasons of his career. That's the last 2 seasons were like the worst of his ever. Like, it was horrible how he played.
I love Chris Paul. I don't know what it is. Or why. It's such a weird thing. It's the same thing with Ray Allen for me. It's like I look at them and there isn't necessarily a bad thing that I have to say about these guys, but like on the other hand too, it's more so just like I don't know why, but my head is screaming no. My heart is saying yes.
See, I think you put D Wade and Chris Paul in, and maybe not Jason Kidd, maybe.
Ooh, I like that.
Spicy.
Why not Jason Kidd? He actually has a title as well.
Yeah, but I think Chris Paul not having a title, you can chalk up to a lot of things, like him being on Houston for a couple of years, him going to Phoenix all of a sudden, and Phoenix making it really far with him, partly because of him. So
Yeah.
I think what he's done is really, really good, even though he doesn't have a title. It's kind of like Charles Barkley kind of stuff. Like, obviously he doesn't have a title, but like still really, really good player.
Yeah, I think it's hard to determine like a top 25 when you have player A with all of these championships, player B with none, but like player B is better. But then you're looking at player A and it's just like, well, championships. So it's kind of you have a little bit of stigma there. But if I had to decide between Chris Paul and Jason Kidd, I'd probably say my head is telling me Kidd. My head is telling me Jason Kidd. I feel like it is so dishonorable not to put Dwayne Wade in there because he was so generational in our time. And I remember watching him on the Heat and whatever, and he was so fucking good and so much fun to watch and whatever. But like, Chris Paul is just like the best point guard to like ever play. He is like the most typical, like the literal point guard. Like, that is who he is. That is the model that you follow to learn how to be a good point guard, is you look at Chris Paul. So it's very complicated.
I was gonna say, I'm just saying, you locked in Steve Nash, who I think actually Chris Paul could probably fall under that category pretty easily, but I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, Jason Kidd, pretty good career.
He had a fucking great career.
One-time NBA champion, 10-time All-Star, 5-time first-team All-NBA, 9-time All-NBA first team, 2 Olympic gold medals, and a Hall of Famer. Just saying. And a Hall of Famer. You should get that Hall of Famer in the top 25.
No. I'm the reason I'm making this noise is because now I'm thinking Jason Kidd definitely is in top 25 because there's recency bias. I think there's a little bit of recency bias, and definitely like, yeah.
But Hall of Fame that's irrelevant, because are you telling me Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade aren't going to be in the Hall of Fame? I think that's
true.
That's a whack take if that's your argument. Because
I mean, you can literally just compare accolades, and Chris Paul's still the worst of all of them. That's just true.
Yeah, definitely. But I think he's still going to be in the Hall of Fame because he's just a really, really good player. He has done amazing. Like Matt said, I think he's one of the best point guards, or probably the best classic point guard that we've seen. I think I think comparing accolades is tough because it doesn't give you the full picture. If we're going on just accolades alone for this whole list, it'd be completely different. Take Chris Paul out of it immediately. Take some of these guys out of it and put some other guys in. If we're going on just that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. I mean, you're wrong, but hey.
Sam, name some other guards, and Kevin and I can just say yes or no as far as if they're more deserving than Chris Paul.
Don't have too many more guards here, but 2 of them are my Spurs players, Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. I think Manu Ginobili is the greatest 6 man of all time. I think that's just a fact. Obviously, Tony Parker is Finals MVP for that of them. He has 4 rings. Ginobili also has 4 rings as well. Obviously, it's hard to credit them into this category because that Spurs team was based on more team effort / Team Duncan as being the centerpiece behind it all. Gary Payton, probably the greatest defending point guard of all time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's kind of different because he's so much more like defense oriented, whereas like Chris Paul is like that leader, that like quarterback point guard kind of idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, Gary Payton is much more that defensive on-ball guy that you don't want to go up against if you're a opposing point guard, you know. I don't know. That's tough for me. Because
that one's tricky. I think that one's hard. That one's pretty hard for me.
How about Allen Iverson?
Allen Iverson.
Like I think Allen Iverson kicks out Chris Paul instantly. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
You get the
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
these modes.
I do too.
Okay, let's go through some foreign big guys here. Yao Ming, Dikembe Mutombo, and Dirk Nowitzki.
All
right. If you can tell me that you never played, if you can tell me that you never liked playing as Yao Ming on any kind of basketball game, I honestly will say to your face, you are wrong. Because he is the literal definition of you are tall, so you are good. It's very funny. It's pretty funny how that works out. But I love Yao Ming. I really, really do love Yao Ming.
No, I know. I mean, I used to play with him in backyard basketball, and he was the greatest because young Yao Ming could drain threes from like half court, and I was like, this is game. This is cheat code right here. This is
that's not even fair.
At this point. So Kevin, you said also you want all lock?
Yeah, I think so.
Dirk Nowitzki's a lock.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Are you
Jason Kidd? What's the difference between Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki? They're on the same team.
Okay, if you're gonna tell me that if you name one player from that team, and if you ask 100 people to name one player from that team, 0 of them will say Jason Kidd. 0. Everyone will say Dirk.
No, that's just no. Stop it. That's just recency bias because that's just based on the idea. No, that's just based on the idea. Like when you say Spurs, you think Tim Duncan because he's just been there the whole time. That's the whole thing. It's just someone who's been there the whole time doesn't mean they're good. That's just true. That's just true. Like if you've been there the whole time.
Is that you saying that Tim Duncan isn't good?
No, it doesn't. I'm saying it doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Like you're saying for the Wizards, if you say Bradley Beal, like when you say the Wizards, I don't think Bradley Beal to be honest. I think John Wall still. I think of like all these other players because Bradley Beal we think is good is actually really bad.
That's fair.
Bradley Beal is not good.
That's very depressing for our show, seeing as we were hyping up Bradley Beal for like weeks and weeks.
If you take your vaccine, we won't roast you. Okay, like I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay,
unless you're Paul George. Unless you're Paul George, you're gonna get roasted. Doesn't matter. Okay, a couple more names here. Kawhi Leonard.
Fuck.
Yeah, I like this. I like this pain here.
Just
do it, Kevin. Rip the Band-Aid.
I don't think so.
Put him against some other people.
I think he's 26. And like, if we're going top 25, he's 26.
Okay. Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant, yeah.
Yes.
Totally. I totally think Kevin Durant is well deserving of it. He's like the best, or at least one of the best offensive players to ever play the game. Like, he is so goddamn good.
Agreed. I agree.
Like honestly, with Kevin Durant, and I just want to say this really quickly and we can move on, but with Kevin Durant, I like put him in the same tier as LeBron almost. Because like I feel like I can't have one without the other. Like it's literally it's like I'm looking at this like let's nerd out for a second, right? Let's look at Harry Potter, right? So we have Dumbledore, who is LeBron, and we have Severus Snape, who is, you know, a snake, and also Kevin Durant. They're both equally fucking awesome. I mean, you know, you have Dumbledore, who's a little bit better, but Severus Snape is also a fucking badass. So it's like, I feel like they're practically on the same tier.
Snape was a simp. Let's get that out of the way first. Anyway.
Awkward podcast. I'm a little concerned on this comparison. Is Snape even that strong? I'm calling cap on that? Is Snape that strong?
He's pretty strong.
I mean, he cried when he died, so he's a pussy. So I'm just gonna be honest.
Wow!
Can't cry.
What's wrong with being a pussy, Sam?
Oh, men can't cry. Sorry.
Look, no, it's okay. I have a cat right here. It's all good. I like it.
So you're saying Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant are pussies for crying during their speeches?
Oh, that sounds. First time you spelled my name wrong. It's SAM, but
Damn it.
uh,
No, it's I have Sam is crazy on the back of this, and because of the
which is
light,
true.
it's probably right. Yeah,
It's true. Yeah, I want to know.
delusion.
Right.
Sin.
Okay. First off, Snape dead to me, literally. Last few names here. I'm gonna say Reggie Miller is a lock. I think he was actually greatest 3-pointer like all time. Then Ray Allen, then Steph Curry at this point. This one kind of dear to your guys' hearts. Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman for sure. I think.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude, Dennis Rodman was crazy when it came to rebounding.
I forgot. Everyone says Chicago Sims over here. I forgot. Chicago Sims, as you young bloods.
Man is a rebound king. Man can get 25 rebounds in a game and 0 points and help the team out like that. That's unreal. Like that is
defensive star. Defensive fucking star.
Hold up. What I realized from this podcast is that you guys just disrespect guards all the time. You're like, any forward, oh my god, I love you so much. You guys are the greatest players of all time. That's what I hear every time. You're like, you're so tall, I love you. That's what I'm hearing every time. Oh, you're 6'5".
No. That big.
6'5", you're the greatest player of all time.
I don't think so, Sam. I don't think so, because I actually think if I had to choose between let's just say Dennis Rodman and a guard, like nowadays, somebody that I actually admire, I would rather have Steph Curry than Rodman.
Would you have Damian Lillard than Rodman?
Yes. I think so.
Kevin, getting some sus vibes over there?
No, I think that's
it's
whack.
hard.
It's
hard. It's hard because Damian Lillard is like incredible. But you're also comparing apples to oranges at this point because Damian Lillard has a completely different game than Dennis Rodman. So it's just like, I mean, offensively, yeah, hell yeah, Damian Lillard all the fucking way. But like the fact that like Rodman could like literally studied the way that a ball bounced off of the rim and off of the backboard just so that he could get a rebound is otherworldly. That is insane.
If we're putting Gary Payton on this list because he's defensive, we're putting Dennis Rodman on this list because he's defensive. That is stupid.
Why is Jason Kidd questionable in all of this then? I'm very confused on why Jason Kidd becomes a question when he's actually one of the top 3 greatest point guards of all time.
I will 100%.
Jason Kidd's way better than Gary Payton.
No. I will 100% admit this because I am totally at fault for this. You know, I got into the basketball game very late. You know, I started watching it when the Celtics were in the fucking when the big 3 of the Celtics, you know, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and whatever. And then like I barely watched any basketball until, you know, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So recency bias plays a very, very, very strong part in my brain when it comes to these players. Now, I will 100% admit that when you were saying all the accolades for Jason Kidd, I was just like, oh, this guy's really fucking incredible. I need to see him actually play and whatnot. Like, because I know the guy, I know the name, and I know the player, but it's just like, I've seen these guys play incredible basketball, and I haven't seen a game from this one guy. So it's just like it's very hard for me personally to just be like, oh yeah, this guy who I've never seen play a game of basketball.
Okay.
I'll admit it. I will 100% admit it, and I am probably wrong. I am probably wrong for dissing Jason Kidd as much as I have been. I will totally admit that. that is on me.
I'm just saying. Gary Payton was like a hard yes almost. I'm just saying. Jason Kidd is
No, I said Gary Payton, I think, is a yes because I think he would be like 25 range, but I just said yes because of his defensiveness compared to everyone else. Like, that's
be
where
honest with me. If you weren't from Chicago, hear me out. If you weren't from Chicago and you didn't watch The Last Dance, would Dennis Rodman make your list still?
I genuinely think so.
Yeah.
Because
your argument was based on what you saw in The Last Dance.
He's the best rebounder of all time. That's not
true. That is not true. Charles Barkley is the greatest rebounder of all time. Don't even. He literally has a nickname for rebounding. So that's cap. Sombrero on the way. Kevin, I'm sending you a sombrero right now.
It's the worm for rebounding.
The worm just means you can escape from the media, and that's what he did. So, okay.
You can get through box outs easy. There's a whole badge in 2K called Worm, and it means you can get through box outs. And
Put the finger down right now. Don't you dare point at me again. Okay.
Let's move on.
Move on. Last two. Chris Bosh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Maybe. I would
need other names. I would need other names.
Vince
too.
Carter.
Oh, Vince Carter for sure. I think so.
I think he's hype. I love Vince Carter. I don't know.
So hold up. We put Vince Carter, and we didn't put Ray Allen or Paul Pierce. This is whack right now.
Hey, I said I don't think so for Vince Carter, so don't look at me.
I look at you. I'm looking at Matt right now. Mr. Khalil Mack jersey thinks he's the greatest defensive player of all time over here with Dennis Rodman.
Look, I'm just saying, Khalil Mack is fucking awesome. Let's not hate on my boy. All right, let's not put him into this.
We're bringing everyone in this. Let's bring Paul George in this right now.
God, fuck that guy.
All right, I'm gonna run through this list, and then we're gonna move on to our last thing. We got Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Steve Nash, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, locks. Steph Curry, Luka, questionable, but I can agree with it, so I'll pass it. Reggie Miller, Dennis Rodman, Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, Mutombo, Yao Ming, Iverson, Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, Giannis, KD, Kawhi.
Okay, so I will say this for, and I need to and this is my fault because I need to have a list in front of me, and then I can be like, okay, yeah, I definitely think these guys are better than these guys. I would probably rather have Ray Allen and Paul Pierce in there instead of like Yao Ming. Even though I love Yao Ming as much as I do, but I would probably have them in there. If we're talking about 3-point game, I feel like you can't not talk about Ray Allen when you talk about Reggie Miller. So that's also like it's just little things like that like puts one thing over the top. It's a hard. All of these guys that we've been talking about are absolutely incredible and very well deserving of a place in this. But like when you're forced to say a name as far as putting them in the top list, it's kind of just like, well, I like this guy more at this point.
So what I'm hearing is we bring a basketball podcast. We have no knowledge of basketball.
No, sir.
Correct, because I'm the basketball. You're right. I am the basketball.
You're the basketball?
I am a physical basketball.
Oh, good. Okay, just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, just it makes everything easier. It's a good middle ground for all of us. Let's move into the next one because y'all crazy for this one with Dennis Rodman. I don't know how you guys put him in there, but next topic. We're just wrap up before the season starts. Preseason starting obviously this Sunday. Teams finalized for the most part. Let's just do a quick recap on who we think is just going to win this now. If anything has changed at all. Finals matchup. Do we all think Lakers Nets still? Has anything changed?
Yeah. Until further notice, yes. I still Lakers. I'm a little shaky on, but
okay.
I'm shaky on both teams. I think the Nets are concerning, especially with Kyrie, and I mean they did get some new pieces in this offseason, which is nice, but like you're losing one of your best players essentially to like who knows. Like that's what Kyrie is. He is a huge question mark. And if you're missing games from him, that's going to be a problem, like we have seen.
Yeah.
I might throw the Bucks in there.
Okay.
I might throw the Bucks in there, and I might actually do I might actually throw the Suns in there as well. I might shoot for another recap of last year.
Okay. Interesting. Of those matchups, do we think Nets is a guarantee winner between Nets Lakers?
If everyone's healthy and playing all 7 games or however many games, yes, I think so.
Yeah, I would need an excuse, a reason to put the Lakers above them other than LeBron and Anthony Davis. I don't think, and this isn't like a diss at all to them, but I don't think LeBron or AD can really carry a team anymore. I mean, AD, we'll see. Like last year, no, he could not. He was out a ton of games. And LeBron was doing his thing, carrying the fucking team on his back, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for him, which is really saying something. But I think it's at the point. I think we're at a point right now where LeBron James is no longer somebody who can just take the entire team and win a championship with them anymore. So because of that, I'm out.
Okay, Mark Cuban, I see you. Let's look at our MVP for this season. Luka is currently the favorite for MVP votes. Do we have a consensus? Do we think Luka Doncic will be MVP this season?
Who are the other ones?
Kevin Durant is second right now. It's a pretty good mix with Steph Curry. Obviously, LeBron's going to be in the mix. I think he's top 5. Joel Embiid. Nikola Jokic out of the top 5. I think he's 6th in all of this. And James Harden is on there.
No.
Anthony Davis. I mean, we all saw the Anthony Davis photo. He got that huge glow up, like straight up like steroid over 2 years. I don't know how he did it, but is Luka that definitive, or do we think that Kevin Durant, the net player, could take over?
I don't think he's definitive. I don't think it's an absolute yes. I think you can make a very good argument for KD and Steph Curry to have a very good fighting chance. But if Luka is better than he was last year, it's just like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what do you do at that point? How do you not put him? Like, because there's only so much that he can do, you know? Like, fucking hell, he's incredible. I would love Steph Curry to win the MVP. I think that would be awesome. And I loved watching him play last year when he finally came back from that injury. Steph Curry is absolutely one of my favorite players. If he won MVP, that would be fucking cool. But I think it'll be a lot harder for him to make it than it would be for KD.
Okay. Kevin, Luka. I feel like Luka's not in your crosshairs right now.
I mean, I go back to this. I think he's an incredible player, absolutely outstanding. But I think part of his ability to be incredible is the fact that his team is trash. So he can score 40 points a game and look awesome when his team is trash. I think it takes a lot more for Kevin Durant to score 40 points a game with Kyrie and James Harden also taking away from that. And the same goes for Steph, I guess. I don't know. I just think Luka, in this podcast, especially by some brothers I shall not name, gets hyped up a lot, and a lot of it's valid.
How can you not?
But I don't know if he's my number one pick for MVP yet. We'll see.
That's a fair argument. It's fair for him to not be a unanimous number one. Mm-hmm. I think John would 100% disagree. Fear for my life. But you can have a very compelling argument for Luka. You can have a very compelling argument for Steph and Kevin Durant. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, and I think I also forgot to mention, obviously, our boy, the Freak. Greek Freak, also a great nominee here, coming off the title as well. Yeah, I think Luka can straight up get 3 MVPs in a row. I don't think this will be his year, just with how this. I honestly think the Mavs are failing him more.
Yeah.
If anything,
I feel so bad.
Yeah, I think only thing I would say is that his defensive presence is pretty bad in my opinion, just because he is like sluggish on that end. But I'm just thinking if you're going to be goated, you got to work on both ends. But I mean, it's year 3 and he's already like top 5, top 6 all time. So can't really complain there. Last thing, I'm going to say 6 NBA teams from each conference. You tell me who's not going to be in the top 6. All right?
Okay.
Eastern Conference, 76ers, Nets, Bucks, Knicks, Hawks, Heat. Notable teams out: Celtics, Pacers, Bulls.
Bulls in. Sixers might be out.
Six of the top six.
Ooh,
That's big.
okay.
I'm going for the Heat.
I mean, the Heat's in the top six. I'm just saying.
I think I do think the Bulls are in there, and if they aren't, I'm gonna fucking jump off a bridge. I would probably take out the Knicks. The Knicks are a little bit concerning to me, even though they're like one of the hardest players, like hardest teams. They play out of their fucking mind, as we saw in the playoffs. You know, give respect where respect is due. But I can't say. I would absolutely lose my shit if Julius Randle had another season like he did last year. I don't think he can. I really don't think he can. If he does, then fuck. Like, okay. But if you gave me that list of teams, I would probably say the Bulls, yes. The Knicks, no.
Okay. Your Boston Celtics keeping them out.
I love Jason Tatum. I love Jaylen Brown. I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Okay, I don't blame you. I think I will take the Knicks out and put the Celtics up. I think Jason Tatum's got a lot to prove this season. I mean, think about it. He was playing with COVID, and based off what he said, it had a detrimental effect on him, and he still played like balls to the walls at this point.
So good, dude. Jason
really
Tatum
well
is
done.
amazing.
I
Do
would
you
put
think, really quickly, do you think the Celtics make it any further if Jaylen Brown wasn't out last year in the playoffs?
I would say no. I don't think that team was good, to be honest. I think it's really good two young guys, but they're not. The team was not built properly around them, and I think that sense of they need the good Al Horford. And they got Al Horford back. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but
yeah,
I'll have to see how that kind of works out. But I think Kyrie was actually detrimental to how this team was going to grow. And I think we're seeing a slight peak in terms of Boston, what they're going to do, because they're just adding some pieces that are not good assets for them. It's a Luka Doncic situation, in my opinion, except they got a better second star with Jaylen Brown at this point. But I would put the Bulls. I wouldn't put them in the top six. I think they definitely would grow. I think just with the amount of star talent that they've got. And I think Zach LaVine's stats are going to drop. His stock value is going to drop a little bit just because the ball is going to be actually moving to other players like DeRozan, Alonzo Ball and Vucevic. I think they'll have an actual team for once where they can actually be truly compatible and actually compete in the playoffs. I'd probably put them at 7. I think 7 seems like a fair spot for them.
That's totally fair. I do agree that Zach LaVine doesn't score as much, but I don't think that necessarily makes them a worse team.
Correct. Yeah, that doesn't actually makes him better if he doesn't score as much, in my opinion, because I think there's actually ball movement for once instead of just running it through your star player, which is what we saw with kind of the Dallas Mavericks, where it's like you only have your star player scoring, and your next best guy is Tim Hardaway Jr., and we know that's not what you need with your generational talent.
That is so sad.
It's pretty sad. The Dallas Mavericks actually got worse. So
fucking KP, man, what a disappointment.
He's the whistleblower for all this. Lastly, Western Conference: Utah Jazz, Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets, Clippers, Mavericks, Trailblazers. Notable teams out: Lakers, Grizzlies, Warriors. That's it.
I think Warriors are in if Steph and Clay are healthy.
I agree. I can't wait to watch Clay play. Oh my God, it's been too long. I want to put the Warriors in there, but like we have trouble every single year figuring out who is going to make it, because that conference is busted. Not to mention that the Jazz somehow always make it into the playoffs, and like they play very well during the season, but during the playoffs it's just I don't care. would I like to see the Warriors in there instead of the Jazz? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. But that's, I don't know. I would love to see the Warriors up in there as well.
Okay. I'm saying no Laker love, so I'm not even saying top 16 right now, basically.
Dude, if they did the same bullshit that they did last year, where they barely tried during the season, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
we're not taking the Clippers out.
Oh,
no Kawhi Leonard for most of the season.
Oh, yeah, we're taking the Clippers out then. I think Kawhi Leonard's practically their team.
Okay, I like that. Practically the team. We know who's not practically the team, so I won't mention any further. Dallas Mavericks still a top 6 team.
I need to see more from them. I need to see more from the rest of the team. I like, you know what? If they made it into the play-in tournament and pushed forward in the playoffs, I honestly think that's all because of Luka. I can't name another player on that team who would who would be a qualified number 2.
That's fair. Lastly, Portland Trailblazers. They got Chauncey Billups as the new head coach. Terry Stott's gone. Does this change anything? I mean, we know Damian Lillard's future seems uncertain at this point. I mean, do we think that they'll still be middle ground, or do we think they're going to be dipping this season?
I don't know. I think it'll be more the same. Like, they'll be good, but not great. They'll probably make the playoffs, but won't go far. Same old, same old.
Kind of like the Wizards, how they somehow make it into the playoffs every year, even though they're not deserving of it. Damian Lillard is well deserving of playoffs. And so is CJ McCollum. Most of the players on that team, not so much. I can't imagine the scenario with all of the shit that happened over the offseason of Damian Lillard wanting to stay on that team. Like, I really think he might get traded.
Yeah, I mean, it seems inevitable at this point, especially if the relationship doesn't work with Chauncey Billups, or like they just don't be better. Like, he probably won't be a Blazer for sure next season. Like, I think it's just going to happen.
I think it would be like really ridiculous on the Wizards side not to trade him almost. Or not Wizards, I'm sorry, on the Trailblazers side not to trade him, because he is such a talent. Why wouldn't you want like the best return from somebody who clearly doesn't want to play on your team? You might as well.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. I definitely agree. Alrighty, boys. Episode 1 complete. Kevin, per our tradition, because you're the greatest of all time, end this show.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to us rant about random old players and saying how Dennis Rodman apparently shouldn't be in the top 25 of all time because people are delusional. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I think we're on all of those. I'll be starting to post memes again once the season starts, and I have some content to go off of. Follow us on Spotify, listen to us there, on YouTube, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts, etc., etc. Shameless plug.
Remember that Philly killed them.
Yo, just facts, get vaxxed.